What's going on? Going on? Leonard Roy coming at you. One more again. With a one more again. Yeah. You got them passport bros, and they for the longest, they have been a long-standing comedy show for me. Long-standing comedy show. Oh, that's a nice Alfa Romero SUV. Small but nice. Yeah, if I wasn't single, I'd be looking at trying to get one of them for the little woman. She on the deserving tip, you know what I'm saying? Doing what's right. Any old way, you know. Those characters, they're like them females when you go to the grocery store, the black women when you go to the grocery store or Walmart, and they walking around with a bonnet on their head. They got on slippers and pajama pants, a t-shirt that look like, really? that's the best you can find, huh? Okay. That's just what they are. And it goes back to an old rule, something that, I told my kids, right? I said, look, anything that you see in a large enough group is going to look normal. See, if you only got one person with like pink, purple, and peach hair, okay, you're going to look at them like, what the hell? Now imagine, you out someplace, and they got about 200 of them out there walking around with pink, purple, and peach hair. It's going to look very normal. Very regular. Well, that's how it is. So like you see Corvette, that new one, looks like a Lamborghini, Ferrari or whatever. You see one of them, oh man, they look real sharp. You see a whole fleet of them driving. It's like, oh, it's just a bunch of Corvettes. They don't stand out. So, you get a bunch of these passport bros, as they call themselves, or travel bros. They use them slick names to avoid the obvious. They are sex tourists, okay? They're not going to those countries to experience the culture, the food, the music, any of that. They are going to these places where they can stay as cheap as they possibly can and lay with the cheapest available doggone ladies of the evening. Yeah. Get they doggone thrills, get they kicks, like driving on Route 66. That's what they do. That's what they do. And they talk about, well, the women overseas compared to the black women in the United States. Really? Overseas? You mean in cheap countries like Uganda and Africa, Nairobi, Kenya? Why y'all not over doing y'all thing in Nigeria where they got all them scammers at, et cetera, et cetera? Why y'all ain't over there posting that on YouTube, huh? What's happening with it? Yeah. Over in the Philippines, Bangkok, whatever. Medellin. Now, I know they wouldn't have been over there like that when they doggone had the Colombian drug cartel was holding it down. They wouldn't have been over there like that. Or they over there, or the Dominican Republic. Yeah. Pattaya, whatever that is. Sosua. I mean, none of these places I've ever been in my life, okay? Because when I go to do whatever, I've done it on like military dime, and, DJing, of course, here and there. It's not those poor countries with those women. And when I say women, I'm not talking about in their 30s. These are young. They've done specials on these different places, whereas these youngins have been put out there to do what they do for money, young as the age of 13. Those guys, y'all do what you do. I would not be proud telling the world that I'm going to doggone poor, disenfranchised countries for prostitutes. I'd be totally, totally embarrassed. I don't do that. That would be like me going back to the south side of Chicago, where I'm from, trying to impress somebody, or, they're going to be looking at me like, ooh, damn, look at Leonard now. Yeah, hey. Nah. Nah, that's all right. Water always reaches its own level. And that's what I told my children. Stay at your own level within your circle of friends or relationships, because if not, you're hustling backwards. If you think you're the smartest person in the room, you need to be in another room. You're in the wrong room. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So, and any of the passport bros, and when I say any, I mean N-E. You all, if you're upset, it's too doggone bad. I don't care. Because it's highly unlikely that I'm going to run into any of you all unless you are in Metro Atlanta area and you're not going to be in Chicago. That's not going to happen, okay? Chicago is not a very scary place, but it's dangerous, very dangerous. And if you don't know exactly where you're not supposed to be, you're going to end up being a casualty. Trust and believe that. When I go to Chicago, I know exactly where I'm not supposed to be. And that is where I never am. So, love, peace, and plenty of hair grease. Yeah. I don't need to know how to Dougie. I'm good. Deuces!